where do I begin? I'll just begin with this. I wrote a love letter to myself. I saw my patterns that I have in love and relationships, and I felt a connection deeper than I have with anyone. And I've had this connection going on for over a year now, or I've been aware of this connection at least for over a year now with a specific person. And I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to be in pureness and pure love, and not in attachment and codependency like I have done in all my past relationships and connections, always looking for someone to fulfill me, someone to save me, someone to make me feel whole, someone to make me feel like I'm enough, someone to make me feel beautiful, worthy, special. It never happened. No one ever did it. When the relationship would fail, I would either blame them or I'd blame myself, and it would be this merry-go-round of highs and lows and untruths and pain and joy. And then there was this dullness, this jadedness that happened for me when I realized that it just was never gonna end if I keep staying in this energy of the merry-go-round of I like you, you don't like me, you like me, I don't like you, never enough. It's just never ever gonna work when you're in that paradigm, because there is no real, true, foundational love in that. It's a game. It's a love game. Let's play a love game. You know, like the Lady Gaga song. But then they're actually, you know, when you get rid of the insecurity, the insecure attachment, the avoidant, the anxious, this and that, not necessarily get rid of it. Let me cancel that. When you bring presence to it, right? When you bring presence to the love game and understanding, you realize that it's all happening within yourself, or at least this is what I realized. I realized it's all happening within me, and I need to actually love myself in wholeness, all the parts of me, the parts that I would consider flaws, or the world might consider flaws, and the parts that I would consider perfection and the world would consider perfection. But in a sense, when we love ourselves in wholeness, we are perfection. Everything about us is perfect. We don't need anyone else to tell us that, because we already know, and therefore we become love, we embody love, and we don't need to get it from anyone else. And we're no longer in codependency, we're no longer in seeking, we're no longer in trying to get our cup filled from another person. And I just did not understand this even when I was in my like not dating era, which kind of went on for a year with dips and dabbles of talking to people for like a day or two and then not. And I guess I'm still kind of in that, but now my perspective has changed completely and I see everything different, and I can credit that to waking up to who I truly am. I can credit that to just getting to this point in this journey, and at the same time this is all a paradox, because I was always love this whole time and I never was anything else other than that, and so are you, because you are me and I am you. We are the same energy at our core, just being expressed differently in form. I wrote this letter. I want to read it to you, and I wrote it from the perspective of me, because I think it needed to be written in first person, you know. Anyway, it goes like this. I now know that I am love, and that no one needs to validate or prove that to me. I've filled my own void and no longer need to seek a lover to make me feel worthy, beautiful, or enough. I know that I already am, and I always was, because I am love. I am God, experiencing the form of Julia. And I know that everyone I meet is this as well. So if I love me, then I don't need other to feel this love. When I love myself and other, it's all the same, because other is just an illusion. We are all one love, one God, one source, experiencing itself. All lovers are different flavors of me. We are all just a bunch of drops in the same sea. So once that realization set in, another one showed up on top of that, which was you could choose to be in love with yourself and express that outwardly to the world as you, and live your life like this, as you should, if you want to, of course. And at the same time, you can still do that in partnership with other being also just another part of the whole. I'm more in the desire to be this love with another and experience what it feels like to both be whole people who love themselves and each other, because that's just what my heart desires deep down. And at the same time, while I am in this place where I am a whole person, person and single, I get to now really experience how good it feels to love myself and do what I want to do, and know that whoever comes along is going to be an addition, and that now I'm not desperate, I'm not clingy, I'm not needy looking to get filled by someone else's cup of love. It's a different feeling. And yeah, you know, there's those pings will come up, those insecurities, like, oh, you know, maybe this person didn't text me back, like, but it doesn't feel like how it used to, like how my sense of self was just gonna crumble, or if I brought somebody into my life, then I was just gonna lose myself again, which I had all these fears. But to get into what changed it was I decided to reach out to that specific person that made me feel the deepest I ever felt, because I knew I was scared to, and I knew that I want to feel that again, and I knew that I needed to get past these insecurities and fears, and I wasn't going to be able to do it if I didn't get triggered enough to do so. So I reached out to him. I did it without expectation, just to see what would come up for me, so I could bring it to light, bring presence to it, and heal it through feeling it. And so he ended up being down to meet, so we did, and the love was still there. In fact, it felt as though it grew in our separation, which was amazing to me, that we both were separate and yet growing alongside each other. And this is somebody who I feel like a very deep connection to. Like, I don't think any connection with anyone ever goes away, but this one, not to say that it's special, because all of our connections are equally special in different ways, but I will say there are certain puzzle pieces that just fit better together than others. And so this was one for me that felt like that, which means it was going to bring up more insecurity than just any other connection would, because I felt this extra weight on it, which was perfect for me to use to heal. If he shows up the way I want him to, I'm gonna have the insecurity of all the things that, you know, I need to work on within me. If he's gonna show up the way I don't want him to, then I have all the things I need to work on within me, as well as to the other insecurities on the other end, because there's the insecurities on this end of how I'm not good enough, and then there's the insecurities of, oh, this person's not good enough, and then it's like both of those are not true, but if we can bring presence to each of them and feel the emotions of them, we can let them go. And so he gave me that opportunity to feel the true love within my heart. And it was a crazy experience, because when we were together, it was a palpable feeling that we both felt from my heart. And I have never felt that with anyone ever, but I knew that he would trigger that in me, because we have experienced these types of feelings before in the past together. So I just let it happen. And then after a few times of seeing each other, all of my triggers came up around the I'm not good enough, do I blame him? And I was able to just be like, oh my God, no, you're good enough. There's nothing wrong with him either. And I got to a place, because the mental ping pong kept going back and forth, where I was like, all right, I know none of these thoughts are true. It's just mind stuff. It's just thought stuff. It's not reality. And I can make it reality, or I could choose not to. I could choose to see the truth. I am love. He is also love. Whatever is best for him is also what's best for me. Whatever is best for me at my core, not my like ego mind stuff, is also what's best for him. Vice versa, mirror, 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 mirror. And so I chose to accept that. And now there's still things like there's a part of me that wants to see him, and you know, I don't know if we'll see each other or not before I move. I hope so. And I'm also okay with the fact that if that's not what needs to happen for both of us on a soul level for this journey, I accept that as well, because I know that no matter what, if I stay open-hearted, if I stay in the love energy, and I bring presence to everything as it comes up for me, the right people, the right person, the right opportunities will show up for me when they need to. That I don't need to cling on to anyone or anything. And if he's right for my journey in this life and I'm right for him, then we'll be there for each other. And if not, that's okay too, because I want the best for myself. I want the best for him. I want the best for everyone. And that was also a deep realization I had about my past relationship, my most difficult and painful relationship with my ex. I thought for the longest time that like I moved on, which I did, but there was still a part of me that was like, I'm not at the place where I can wish him the best, where I can wish him well. There was a part of me that still kind of hated him and hated myself for how I acted. The version of me that was in that relationship I was not proud of, and there was a lot of self-hatred and a lot of external hatred that I projected out because I was really insecure, really low when I was in that relationship, when I was in that place. And so I remember, this was probably a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point, I was about to go to bed and I had a thought about my ex, and I was like, you know, I don't know what it is. There's nothing I want to say to him, but I feel peace now. And then I went to sleep and I woke up in the morning and a whole letter, I swear to God, I would read it to you, but it's long and a little personal, so I won't. But I wrote a whole 1.5-page letter to him, like completely forgiving him, completely forgiving myself. Because remember, all is the one is the all. Every character you meet is a part of you. I don't even think I fully realized that when I wrote the letter, but I just knew, like, I don't hate you. To him or to me or to anything. Love was there all along. But the insecurity, the mind stuff, the tit for tat clouded it for so long. And so when I was finally able to like let that go, this amazing peace arose over me, and it lasted a while. And it actually is what led me to reach out to that specific person. So I was like, well, if I can find love for someone who I had so much hatred towards, including me, then I can also love unconditionally to this person who I had villainized in my mind as well. The thing about it is, when we make a villain out of another, we really make a villain out of ourselves too. You can't inflict pain or harm or negative thoughts to another person without doing it to you. Even if you aren't aware of what it's doing to you, it's still doing something not great for you. When you think of someone with vengeance, you hurt inside. But when you can let go and be like, all is love, I just want what is best for everyone collectively, that's a whole different energy. That is peace. But when we have a war in our minds, we create wars in our lives. I guess I say all that to say that a lot of times we put conditions and strings on our relationships, our friendships, our situations, hoping to desperately grasp for something we think we need. And you know, yeah, we do have needs. We are in bodies. Of course, we have human needs. Don't get me wrong. And at the same time, it feels way better inside to get those needs met with somebody who genuinely wants to meet them with you and who you genuinely want to meet them with, versus forcing those needs to be met in like a codependent, desperate, clinging, seeking type of way. I've done that. I did that in my past relationships and it felt horrible. So now I know I can meet my needs without desperation and struggle and this and that. If I can meet my needs through love, because I'm showing myself as a promise to myself to do so, then I can also do that with another. And when you do that with another, you can do that with more others and more others and more others and more others. And that's how we change our world. We change it from the inside out. Regardless of your circumstances, regardless of what you're going through, if you take time to be still with yourself, breathe in and out deeply, and you bring presence to your thoughts, to your emotions, to your body, you'll eventually start to feel that you're not the thoughts. You're not the emotion. You're something else. You're the thing that's watching them. And as you bring presence to that, you may just start to feel the love underneath all of those excess layers. And that love is you. Okay, this is impromptu, but I really want to add this part in that I realized about unconditional love. A lot of times when it doesn't work out with a lover, we use that as an excuse to either slip into self-hatred or hatred to another, which is always also a form of self-hatred, because like I said, other is us. And so this time, when I felt like the specific person wasn't showing up for me, I could have used that to slip into self-hatred. And trust me, all of the insecurities were showing up that wanted to lead me there. And I chose not to, because I was like, you know what? I genuinely love him, like unconditionally. So if him not being in my reality right now is what's best for him, it's also what's best for me. And then I slipped into self-love and unconditional love for him and for myself. And so we can either use these experiences that could appear as a negative to slip into more self-hate, self-judgment, other hate, which is, like I said, still towards us. Or we can use it to propel ourselves into deeper and deeper unconditional love. It's our choice. And when we choose to make light of a situation that could be perceived as negative, then it ends up taking us back to something more positive, or to something more positive that we could never even imagine anyway, because we really held the pose, we held the frame of the energy that we want to receive, that we want to be. And maybe we went even deeper into it, like I'm saying, with going deeper into that unconditional love. And I also want to add this part, that unconditional self-love for other and for ourselves doesn't mean you'll be a doormat. It doesn't mean you don't still have boundaries, you don't, you know, say no to things. It means actually you do. There are so many things that I could have been a doormat for in the situation with this guy that I was like, no, this wouldn't be right for me. And he completely respected that. If he didn't, I would have to walk away. Or if something comes up that just doesn't work for me, yes, I would have to walk away. And that has happened in our connection where, you know, I brought something to him and he wasn't okay with it. He had to walk away. And then I, you know, came back and was like, okay, actually, like I was just being in my, you know, insecurity, and then we were good. And same with him, where he brought something to me where I was like, no, I can't do that. And then we had to walk away. But then you're able to realize, okay, like we can accept these things. But I would say those situations weren't disrespectful or boundary breaking. But I have experienced the disrespect and the boundary break on my end as well as from another's end. And really what it comes down to is, if you don't break your own boundaries, if you listen to what you feel and you really respect yourself and your heart, then others will respect you and your heart. And you need to also respect others and their heart, because that's also respecting you and your heart. And then you don't get into those doormat, those, you know, abusive situations. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I love you guys so much. Bye.